This is Smithee.tv.
We're rolling? 3, 2, 1. Hey, this is Kenny Robinson. We're breaking down the news. I missed you folks. I hope you missed me. We haven't been here for a couple of weeks, not because we did or said anything wrong. We had the long weekend a while back, and then the guest I had scheduled for our previous show, he had some emergency dental work that had to be done. And I'm happy to say my guest is here now. I'm known throughout the land as that Canadian guy, Mr. Glen Foster, giving the voice to the downtrodden, middle-aged white man. And you know what? Recently now, I just saw...
The middle-aged white man was not informed that this was a television, a video would be involved. I thought this is...
Well, that just shows you how downtrodden you are.
I know. I know. I'm
just... The women in his life let him go downtown in a gray T-shirt.
Let me go downtown dressed like this. Who let me out of the house like this, let alone
They say that way he's sure to come back.
Public airwaves, as it were.
Well, it's okay if we get your wife and your daughter watching. Then
this is okay though. See, it's only from here. You don't know what I could be.
You're wearing $300 slacks.
I could be.
So anyway,
highly unlikely.
Highly unlikely. But even though they are a tax write-off if you wear them for stage and podcast.
Oh well then.
So well, it takes me to
everything's a write-off until the government says no.
Right, everything's a write-off.
You know?
Actually, when I file taxes, they send me a letter back thanking me for not applying for social assistance. So they say, you're eligible with the money you've earned. And I'm going, I got my pride.
Yeah.
Legends don't collect handouts. So we just starve quietly.
Oh, I forgot we were legends.
Well, that's all we got left to be proud of. So anyway, Glenn, I've known you, 30 years now?
Somewhere in that neighborhood,
yeah. 30, 35?
Something in that, yeah.
I think when I first moved here from Winnipeg and Chicago and parts unknown, you were just basically starting out.
When would that be? When did you move?
1980, 81?
Yeah, okay. I was getting in around then.
Yeah.
I had a 3-year hiatus. But,
Okay, so anyway, I tease you about being the voice of the downtrodden middle-aged white guy, but then that's part of your shtick.
It has been in the past part of my shtick.
And now it's
so
like
much.
you like a neck tattoo on a felon.
Yeah.
It's even if you don't mention it, that's still
it's true. My reputation exceeds me.
Yeah. So and succeeds you.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm having a lot of fun with you with that Canadian guy. I was thinking of. Oh, I should turn this down.
Yes.
I was thinking on billing myself as that black Canadian guy. Just
you're black.
Well, apparently so. The only time I'm not is when people are intimidated and they're trying to convince me that things aren't that bad. Well, you're half white. Why do you have to be so angry? So anyway, I found something interesting though. There is a female comic. I won't mention her, but she had landed a part in an audition, and she lost the part later on because they said they wanted to book somebody ethnic. They wanted to have a minority. So she posted that the white middle-aged woman will soon be the minority. So I just laughed because if affirmative action has helped anybody more than minorities, it's helped white women.
Yes. I think I would say so.
So I told her that she's become the new Glen Foster, and since then I think I've been blocked. So,
no way, really? Oh man.
So anyway, it's good that we're talking about the isms in showbiz because lately in the past week the shit has really hit the fan. Jen Grant.
Yes.
Funny gal.
Yes.
She was doing a corporate gig. I hear they're really nice.
Yeah, but if they decide to be assholes at a corporate gig, it can be really hell because you're handcuffed. You are handcuffed. You're totally handcuffed, and you don't even know if the guy heckling you is the boss, is the guy signing your check, is close to the guy signing right?
It's never the guy in the mailroom though.
No, exactly.
Because he doesn't get to attend these functions.
But it amazes me, and this happened at a golf tournament too, right? This is like a
country club, golf club.
I don't think you ever see as many potentially entitled assholes as you do in these golf type gigs.
Right.
You know what I mean? And they behave that way because they behave that way.
Well, that's where all the deals are cut up. That is the old boys club.
It's totally the old boys.
If they always say the man's plotting against us, that's where the man gathers.
At the golf tournament.
At the golf tournaments,
Not the tournaments so much.
But the clubs.
Tournaments so much, but the clubs.
Yes,
exactly.
Because they rent it out to the working class every now and then so they could feel like they're part of the 1%.
If it was up to me, there'd be no golf. Golf is an enormous waste of resources and land and all these things for the benefit of a very, very few.
Well, Carlin was about that about 10,
Carlin
15
was
years
about
ago.
that. Yeah.
He says that's where all the guys that make the decisions go up there and decide what piece of the pie you ain't getting a piece of.
Exactly.
You know.
I mean, if I golfed, I might feel differently about it.
If I mini putted, I might even have a different attitude about it.
I have mini putted. I've actually mini putted.
I
go to the glow in the dark mini putt, which is
underneath the influence.
But I just, I get this reputation as being this ultra conservative, et cetera, et cetera. But I'm not. I'm very much an egalitarian, actually.
Actually, you are, but we'll get to that in a minute. Anyway, for the people that are watching and listening, if you're not familiar with when he said they shit hit the fan with Jen Grant,
right?
She was doing a corporate gig at a country club, and she's told that you can't swear, you can't do this, you can't do that.
Anytime you go to a corporate gig, they'll say, well, we don't want anything sexist, and we don't want anything racial, and we don't want anything political about religion, and we don't want, and we don't want, and we don't want. And I say, well, then you don't want me.
See, and if they don't want you, then definitely they're stopping me at the gate going, what are you doing here?
Exactly.
We've seen your act on TV.
I can work around it, but you do feel handcuffed. You do feel like, I'm just not being as funny as I could normally be.
But what happened
without all these restrictions?
What happened with poor Jen, though,
right,
was that immediately there was a guy that apparently had too much to drink. And he starts with this sexual innuendos, 51% chance my buddy's gonna do you. I got the other 48 or whatever. Right. And she described in her blog as using a rapey tone voice. Now, what is a rapey voice?
Having not raped anyone, I don't know what voice I would use.
That's exactly. I haven't turned this thing off, but either. I'm going to work this off right now. That's what I'm wondering. Sean Keane, who God bless him, has left us.
He had a rapey tone.
Oh, he had a very deep. Yes, but I never consider that rapey tone.
No, just a deep voice.
A deep voice, or if I was going to, do phone sex, I'd want to have that voice.
Where's the line from that's just your voice to that's, quote, a rapey tone?
So does that mean deep voice guys could never say anything sexual to anybody?
Except for Barry White.
Where did you get that ice cream?
Right.
I'm calling the police.
I mean, there's just over the line. There's Barry from sexy to rapey. Just that right over that line.
So, but anyway, so it was a rapey tone. And anyway, make a long story short, she ended her set quickly. She cut it short.
Well, because it wasn't the one incident.
No, there was the guy was constantly on her.
Right, exactly. So and no one around him said anything, and you don't know who this guy was. Again, there's the problem. Who is this guy?
Right.
How is he related to the power structure of the company? Are people like, well, I can't say anything because he's my boss or someone else's boss or the boss? Or...
Well, if he was the boss,
I don't think he was the boss.
No, because then everybody else would have said, "Hey, he's doing it. We can jump in."
Could be.
So I don't know. Now some. Okay, so now once again, getting in for those people not familiar with what's happening. So now there's a big movement now to protect and stand up and defend female comics from any type of sexual harassment on the stage, which goes back to the woman a couple of weeks ago with fuck her right in the pussy.
Right.
Which I always thought was stupid because you only got two other options.
As a friend of mine, I'm going to say as a friend of mine because I was talking to a few friends about this and other incidences.
Right.
And I don't want this labeled as what I said.
Okay.
But a friend of mine said, there's worse places to fuck a woman.
And you're judged by the company you keep, sir.
Well,
but,
yeah, exactly. But also, isn't that fucker right in the pussy thing, isn't that more of an internet meme thing? Isn't that like guys, no matter who has the microphone, could be... haven't there been incidents where a man was doing the report and some idiot just run streaking?
Maybe, but I haven't seen it. I haven't heard of it.
I had heard that it's sort of like streaking or photo bombing, that someone just jumps in and goes, "Fuck her right in the pussy," and then runs off.
I thought it was part of the new sex ed curriculum when they were. How do you make a woman pregnant? Will you fuck her right in the pussy? Mr. Robinson, we appreciate your efforts in trying to help us develop this curriculum, but unfortunately, we feel we're going to have to go somebody with a better vocabulary.
So the question is, was it specifically directed at the reporter, or is it something like just jumping in and yelling something stupid into the microphone?
Or people are going to say, I think it's stupid to yell on a microphone, period.
Right.
But now
people do it because they want to. It's basically trying to ruin the shot. It's like if the producer here, our good friend Ryan, just came right in here and said, "Fuck him right in the pussy," right? While we're having our, you know what I mean?
Actually, I'd love to hear.
Totally do that.
I want a football player when they win the Super Bowl. And where are you going? I'm going to go fuck her right in the pussy. I mean, the hell with Disney World. Disney was a racist and a Nazi sympathizer. So I'm saying it'd be so much better if we actually just, but so apparently though, but now it is sexual harassment because he prevented the woman from doing her job. And okay. I guess to some extent, to me, only a moron would yell that though.
To some extent that he did. I'm not condoning what he did.
No.
I'm saying was what he did specifically directed at her, or just something stupid that he would have yelled into the microphone no matter who was holding the microphone? And are there other incidences like that?
Once again, though, but we haven't seen or heard reports of it happening to a male reporter. Same thing.
We haven't.
Same thing is, when was the last time you heard the cops choke a white man? He says, I can't breathe, and they continue to choke. I mean, it happened,
yeah,
but when, where,
and who's got to report
and how many years before it happens again, you know? So, or do you just see this? I don't know. Now there's another comic, Dan Gyrie, who he wrote on Facebook the other day, and Dan's a little bit of a mouth breather, but he moves his lips when he reads. But he said, "Hey, it's comedy, and you get heckled, and get over it."
You know what? Quite a few of my friends have expressed exactly that opinion. And one friend said, "Okay, so he had a rapey tone. What does she think? Are they going to just after a golf tournament go rape her in the parking lot? Did she feel threatened to that extent?" That's what my friend said. He said, she's supposed to be a comic. If you can't stand the heat, basically said, if you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen, right? Not meaning that women should be in the kitchen.
No,
sure,
or at least not with shoes on.
But but you see where it's at with the general public, right? My friend is not a comedian.
Okay,
right?
So it seems like it's just going to be the rallying of the troops on this one.
Oh, you mean the comedy troops?
Yeah, the comedy.
Well, the comics are behind her because. Sure. None of us wants to be,
put in that situation where there's no support. Unlike the one comedy club wherever you work at, you're not allowed to respond to hecklers.
Yes, there's that place.
And which is really too bad because
you're not allowed to do anything. It's not even about respond to hecklers at that particular club. You're not allowed to quote address the crowd directly.
Wow.
Right? You're not allowed to.
Unless you're saying,
"Hi, how are you? Where are you from?"
Oh, you can't even do that.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, which is really
the way it reads to me, and I've done that club several times, and the way the contract reads to me is, you are not allowed to go into the crowd. You're not allowed to address the crowd correctly. You're not allowed to talk to the waitresses or the staff in any way.
Yeah, because we had trouble because when the comics made a sexist remark, dinosaur remark about a waitress
in a comedy club.
Yeah, in a comedy club.
So when things happen in a comedy club, I think you got to, at some point, say, well, it might have been comedy, right? There might have been some comedy.
Not if it means that she's the victim of your humor.
But there's a victim in all humor.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, not in nice comedy, not in PC comedy.
But nice comedy, nice PC comedy isn't as funny.
No, it's corporate.
Victimless comedy is not as funny as comedy that has a victim.
Yeah, when you fall down the stairs, it's never as funny as when somebody else falls
down the stairs.
And never as funny as when you push somebody.
Right.
Yeah. So, anyway, we got to wrap it up. I just want to say one thing about this gig where the comics are not allowed to speak to the audience. I really enjoyed playing Niagara Falls, and I haven't seen this contract that you received because I guess they say we won't even bother with him
because we know he's gonna.
But the saddest thing is. One of the last times I played it, I was doing pro-Obama material, and there were quite a few Americans that came across the border to hear comedy. And they would get mad at me and shoot me the finger and what have you because
you were pro-Obama.
I was pro-Obama and I was defending the Muslim Kenyan, president. And it's something that never happened to me before. But the guy's outside, he's arguing with the manager who's no longer with him, maybe because he took my side or maybe because he was the type of guy that would take a comic side. This guy is yelling, "I cannot believe how liberal that comedian is. I've never heard such a liberal..." And I'm thinking of all the walkouts I've had in 35 years.
Yeah.
I've had people write letters to the club owners. We felt we were verbally raped in the name of entertainment. And of all the complaints... And with my high voicey tone, it's more of a request than a demand. But I thought of all the things that had people walk out on me over the years. that, you know, being a liberal was the one I never, ever thought would be the issue.
Right.
You know, so considering most of the times, has this not been plugged in the whole time?
No, it is.
Oh, okay. So we are experiencing temporary minor technical difficulties.
We weren't experiencing any difficulties until we brought attention to the fact that there might be difficulties, and there are in fact no difficulties.
There are no difficulties.
So it lasted this long, seeing as how I got a warning in the book.
What was the warning?
Oh, we're running out of time.
It was a visual warning.
Oh, well.
Anyway, folks, that was this is my guest, Glen Foster, that Canadian guy. We've just been talking about what's happening with politically correctness and the art of handling with hecklers and what's happening in the comedy clubs, which some of you may find interesting and some of you may say, we really don't care. Anyway, thanks for checking us out. I'm Kenny Robinson. This is Breaking Down the News. Check us out again here on Smithee TV. Put up your Smitties. That used to be an old Chicago expression for fists. Put your Smitties up.
Really?